we're back at last. We've been very naughty. And it has actually been pointed out by some very lovely listeners that we haven't published an episode since October. We're very sorry, everyone. We didn't mean for it to be so long, and we're not quite sure how it's been so long.
No, we were kind of aiming for April date, weren't released for season 3.
Yeah.
And life got a little bit crazy.
It did. We're going to tell you some of the stuff we've been working on that's been making it a little bit crazy and a little bit difficult for us to actually sit down and get some podcast sessions in and make space in our diary for the lovely kindred conversations that we have with our guests. So, Sammy, what have you been working on that's prevented you from getting in the studio? The studio. Studio being our spare rooms, obviously.
Yeah. Sounds very fancy there with our studios. I had to actually have kind of a look back, because when you said it's been since October, I was like, my goodness, I didn't even clock it had been that long. Pre-Christmas feels like an age away now. So yeah, I had to kind of have a little bit of a look back, because I know I've been super busy crafting lots of lovely brand identities and websites, but yeah, just kind of it's kind of nice just to take a bit of stock and actually appreciate all the wonderful things we've been creating. So it's been about 9 brand and website designs.
Ooh.
So no wonder
That's a lot.
my keyboard's been a little bit, worn out. So yeah, lots of lovely businesses I've worked with in that time. So B Corp consultant, did a nice redesign and rebrand for her, bringing through all the lovely elements of her business. 2 yoga teachers, a hypnotherapist, a food addiction counselor and breath worker. 2 nutritional therapists and another therapist. Lots of ists going on. Then I did 1 website upgrade. So there's like 2 versions of Squarespace, 7.0 and there's a 7.1, which is kind of the newer version, and which has a lot more features. So it's a bit of a job to kind of sadly, you can't click a button to upgrade. You have to basically redesign the whole website on the new version. But it's a nice chance to take stock and have a bit of a redesign. So I did that for another lovely client. And then done some like smaller sort of just brand and logo packages. So one was for a lovely client who was relaunching her business after being on maternity leave, and kind of pivoted a little bit with what she was doing and having a bit of a new focus. So that was really fun, just to kind of dive into that new direction with her. Obviously done quite a few SEO audits and like web page redesigns, like a homepage or a services page, just to kind of bring it all in alignment and kind of optimize really for clients. And then I've also done the Green Skills for Small Business course.
Yes.
Last year.
Which took me along to the party afterwards.
Yeah,
House of Lords.
My +1, yeah, House of Lords. For those just remembered us posting about that back in February. But yeah, that will crop up a little bit in some of the episodes, where I've kind of looked at really obviously sustainability elements I wanted baked into my business from the very beginning, but I'm kind of being really proactive with how does that look and how I can use that to take imperfect action and also share and hopefully inspire other businesses to have that as something at the forefront of their minds when they're building that out. And off the back of that, I created an impact page on my own website to kind of share that journey with everyone else. And then now I've just started a course on SEO. I've done others before, but I wanted to be really up to date. So I'm kind of diving deeper. Obviously so many changes going on with AI and Google and all the things. And I can just see it's really hard for small businesses to keep up with that. And so I want to kind of, hone in on that and get kind of up to date so I can really help other small businesses, get found when they're launching, and help them kind of get those best practices in place to really build on from there as they grow their business. So it's been a lot. It's
Has
been a
been a
lot,
lot.
but it's been really fun. Lots of creativity going on. How about you? What have you been up to?
Gosh, yes, I had to sit down and work through what I'd been working on. And I think before I talk about what I've been working on, what you said about it being a really nice opportunity to sit and reflect on how far you've come along and what you've actually achieved. I think we'd encourage listeners to pause and do the same thing at this moment, because when you're a small business owner, particularly if you're doing things on your own, you're so in the business and in the task list that sometimes you forget to pause and celebrate the wins and take stock of, actually, I've done loads. Because your to-do list will never be empty. You're not the kind of person who has a completed it to-do list.
No,
Um,
exactly.
it will continue going, and if you just keep
Yeah.
constantly on, that you don't get the same level of fulfillment as when you pause and go, oh yeah, I've done all of that. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. And not just to do it kind of like at that typical end of year, start of a new year,
Mm,
kind of the done thing, to have that time of reflection, which is important too. Like as a year comes to a close, it's a nice natural time. But I think having those pockets of reflection throughout the year, and obviously what we're halfway through this year, yeah, I think it's really important to actually just give yourself a bit of a pat on the back, and acknowledge, how far you've come and what you've done.
absolutely.
Lots of
So some of those things that I've been working on, because empathy is my pet thing, my soapbox issue. Um, I will talk about empathy until the cows come home. I actually was invited as a guest teacher to the alt marketing school. So we've recorded an empathy-based masterclass. The details for that are coming soon. And then not attached, well, attached to that, but not. So unrelated to the fact that I'm a guest teacher for the alt marketing school, I was also nominated as one of their top 100 marketers to watch for 2024, which was really very lovely. I
congratulations.
don't know who nominated me for it, but that was very nice of them.
Well
Um,
deserved. So,
it's cute. It's nice. It's a nice thing. Obviously, we launched my new branding and website. So, Brand Stories to Savor is
yeah.
there for people to mull over with a cup of coffee, as a couple of people have told me they have done, which is really very nice and is exactly the look and feel we were going for when we worked together on it.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a big project for both of us. Sort of end of last year, earlier this year, a lot of time and effort went into that. And
mm.
yeah, it's been so joyful to see that come to life. Um,
And that's going to keep cropping up probably throughout this season, as it's sort of the impetus for what we're going to be doing moving forwards, as
yeah,
well as a really good example of it. But I'm not going to say anything more about that right now. We're going to get to it, don't worry.
yeah,
I've done some block copy reviews with one of my long-standing clients to keep her accountable as she creates stuff herself. I've done my fortnightly copy clinics for Vicky's Just Start Now membership. Um, I've been beta testing what will be my new package Encore, with a fabulous local foodie client who just absolutely adorable. So we've been doing lots of brand wordplay and story crafting deliciousness. I've been working on brand stories and tone of voice projects with brand agency that I work with. Some brand wordplay and copywriting with Collab, which is really, very nice.
Proper collabing.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I handed over at the end of Distill Your Message with my lovely life coach. I'm in the throes as we speak of working through Distill Your Message with a therapist. And I'm at the very beginning of Distill Your Message with a very lovely accountant as well. So going to be bringing accountancy to life and giving it, a bit more joy. And then, of course, there's been a load of health stuff for me this year. And that has meant that I've needed to create more consistent income and space to take recovery time. Because I had to take a big chunk of time off in May, and I'm taking a big chunk of time off at the end of this year to get well again, really, so that I can keep doing all of these lovely projects and have a much better and more consistent 2025, which I can't believe I just said out loud. Looking into 2025, but then I can't quite believe that I told people when I was finishing for the year back in June. So
Well, it's going to come around soon enough, but I think it's good to highlight that as well, and like be kind of open and transparent about the life happening stuff, because it really does. Obviously, I had quite a year last year with my partner being in an accident, and haven't really talked about it sort of publicly too much, but I've found myself quite a few times recently saying, I've got such lovely clients. It's so nice to work with people that are kindred, because they really get it and they're flexible and really accommodating when life does happen, and vice versa. And I found myself saying that quite a bit recently when talking to people about the joys of running your own business and choosing who you work with. If we're looking at different success markers, for me, that's been a huge one. Like, it just feels so nice to know that you've got clients that support you as when you need it, as much as you support them. So I think it's great that you're able to prioritize your health when you need to and work your business around that. And I think it's nice for other people to hear that too.
Yeah. And I think from what you've said there as well, this is not to get really gushy, people, it's not super biased, but the fact that you and I work so closely together also is a massive relief to me. And it's helpful having someone to not lean on, because we kind of riff off of each other, really, I think. But knowing, because we work so closely together on client projects, and a lot of those projects we're working in tandem on them, I know that clients are getting more from their investment because they're working with you as well, and that when I'm out having various appointments or whatnot, they're still moving forward on stuff because they're moving forward on stuff with you, having done some of the work with me. And so it keeps things moving, and that momentum doesn't stall. And obviously, I'm very grateful to all of my very, very lovely clients, but I am also very grateful that I get to work with you so closely on so many of our projects. And that, again, is one of the underpinnings of this season, really, is that more collaborative approach.
No, it is. I think we kind of we work on we're solo business owners in one respect, but like, you can't be isolated. You need to work with other people, collaborating.
Say it right.
Collabing.
Well, there's that, and there's an actual line on your website about us all being islands, and
but we don't need to swim alone.
there we go. Thank you.
Okay. Which is baked into the name, hence, because somebody the other day was like, oh, why have we used co, like KOH? I was like, was island in Thai, and yeah, brings in that sort of thing of like we are, you know, independent but actually working together, and we all need support networks. And yeah, likewise, I get sad when you go on holiday because I'm like my best business buddies out of the office. I don't know what to do now. Who do I share all my daily ups and downs with? My
Yeah, but
partner gets a lot more of the brunt.
I don't
So
actually
please come
think
back.
I don't actually think there's been a day this year so far where we haven't spoken on one format or another.
That's true. That's true. Can't be so easily escaped.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, it is really nice. It is really important to have,
And
yeah.
that's obviously what we want for you, our lovely listeners, is to feel like you have someone on your side and that you're not
Yeah,
isolated and alone and working through all this stuff on your own. So whether it's through our podcast or actually working with us, we want you to feel that lovely warm glow of, you know, community.
yeah.
Did it, got it in there.
Um, oh, it's so important. And I've had a few conversations recently with clients that, you know, really are kind of like, I have no idea how to get this stuff on the off the ground. I'm not tech savvy. I don't have a home to put everything. I don't know how this works, how it connects together, but I know I want, you know, a place to send clients and people to, and just to kind of be able to turn around and be like, it's okay, we've got it. Don't worry. And you can just like literally see the pressure lifting.
Yeah,
And it's so nice to know that you can, yeah, take some of that weight off of their shoulders, and that, yeah, you know, you don't have to do it alone. It is a lot to tackle. You're not going to be an expert in every area. So where you can tap into other expertise and proper humans, then it makes the whole process much easier, more joyful, and more fulfilling. Definitely.
absolutely. So that's what we've been creating. We want to know what you've been creating, and we want you to tell us what you're celebrating, what you've been achieving, because, well, we like to hear everyone's wins and what they've been creating, and we want these kindred conversations to continue outside of the two of us sitting here recording. So you can use voice notes, or you can send us a LinkedIn message or comment on one of our posts and tell us what you've been creating and what you've been up to since we last recorded.
Yeah. We'd love to know, because we had some good ones last season, didn't we? We had
Mm,
was decorating, a load of decorating. So we had one listener was, I've got you on in the background while I'm decorating. Somebody else was candle
blending teas. Oh yeah, candle making. Yeah, there was that.
making. Yeah.
We had someone was blending teas whilst they were
Gorgeous.
listening. And we had someone else who was grating their lovely hot chocolate mixes whilst listening to us. So yeah,
So yeah, it
it's
was,
lovely. The real
yeah.
make along.
Yeah, exactly. I love the fact that we're kind of, you know, just keeping people company while they're crafting and creating such beautiful things. So yeah, keep them coming. We love hearing about it. So season 3, we've got a bit of a
Season.
theme.
We do have a theme. And obviously we've just talked about all of the things that we've been creating. The thing that we didn't really talk about, although I've kind of lightly mentioned it, is we've been working on launching Limelight.
Yes.
Which is the underpinning of this episode and this series as a whole, really. Although, don't worry, we're not going to be talking about it in it as a salesy piece through the entire series. Really, Limelight is kind of a natural evolution of us working together more collaboratively, and it's about bringing together our mutual way of working, which emphasizes starting with solid foundations, because we're constantly banging on about foundations
Yeah.
with all of our clients, and we figured we might as well bring that together and formalize that and make that into kind of a really nice, easy to access process and package. So those foundations are what we're going to be talking about throughout this season of the podcast.
Yeah, we thought it was important to actually kind of break it down and make it more digestible. So we'll be kind of honing in on various episodes and also including some guests around the kind of topics as well. But yeah, I think it kind of came about, wasn't it, that we were working in kind of the same way with our clients, and then we're actually like, oh, there's huge crossover. Actually, we're kind of working very similar in terms of like where to start from. And I think you can apply it whether you're just starting out brand new, or whether you're at a stage of your business where you're kind of taking stock and having a bit of a reevaluation and a bit of a relaunch like we did with you. You know, your business will grow and maybe go in different directions. You might pivot. There's all these different reasons where you might kind of feel like you've come to a natural end of where your current brand, website, messaging can take you in it. And in order to get to that next level, that needs to be kind of like re-looked at, and those business foundations still need to be in place and tweaked. So we always start from mission, vision, and values as the real cornerstone from which those foundations actually, although sit alongside each other, actually they build up, isn't it? And we notice when, if somebody tries to skip that step, or a lot of clients might come to us and they haven't really thought about those elements. And not to say that you have to have it all mapped out and know exactly everything. I mean, that's, you know, why working with us, we can help guide you through that and pull out those lovely magical bits that it's hard for you to see sometimes in yourself and your own business because you're so close to it. So having like those fresh eyes on it is massively helpful. And why we kind of support each other in that as well, because, you know, we pull out different things, you know, with each other when we've collaborated. Yeah, if you skip that step, what does it mean?
Oh, it's usually messy. You end up following all sorts of rabbit holes, feeling confused and overwhelmed. You may find yourself rewriting your website 13 times. True story, not me, but it has happened. I think it just leaves you feeling disconnected and
Possibly
out,
misaligned.
yeah, out of sync and possibly out of love with your business and what you're trying to do. And it can feel like your business is running you instead of you running your business.
Yeah, it's quite exhausting if there's times when you might have to like put a little profile together, or like kind of you're kind of doing like your sort of top line pitch if you're going to a networking event. You know, how do you introduce yourself? How do you talk about your business? You could be applying for an award and you've got to write, you know, a whole spiel about your business. You know, there's all those different elements that you come across where it's exhausting if you're kind of having to sit down and really think, okay, who am I? What am I about? You know, where am I coming from? What are my values? And obviously your client base is going to feel that confusion if it's coming across, you know, confused. Well, what's the saying? Confused clients don't buy. So I think it's that it comes down to clarity, doesn't it? Getting clarity or enough clarity to start from. Hard to get everything in place when you may be at a stage where you haven't actually worked with clients, so you don't really know, you know, in terms of niche and, you know, who that ideal client is, but that feeds into it. But there's still like that kind of baseline kind of steers the ship, really. Like, we live in a world where we're so open to so much all the time that the shiny object syndrome thing is on a whole new level now, where you're seeing what other people are doing, you know, all these different things, all these different softwares, all these different, you know, there's so much you could be doing. And I think it's actually quite a skill to cut out some of that noise and be like, I can't do everything, but this is what you know, these are my focus points. and actually just having something quite solid to keep coming back to. And we've used it with clients time and again, like, yeah, but does it come back to this? Does it fit with this?
Mm.
Does it, because we could all try and do too much. But if you've got that solid direction, to keep it aligned with your goals and where you want your business to go, and then over time that maybe shifts slightly direction, and then you reevaluate and then you kind of plot, but it's intentional rather than rabbit in the headlights, or kind of I don't know, trying to think of an analogy, it's gone out of my head. But you know what I mean, there's a headless chicken, that's one. Headless chicken, nobody wants to see a headless chicken.
Especially not me, as I have chickens.
Yeah.
I don't want to see them headless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're encouraging, that sort of state of flow in your business, which we are going to talk about during this season. We have a dedicated episode to that. That feeling of calm and confidence that comes from, okay, I'm grounded in, I know what I'm doing, I know where I want to go. These are kind of some of the steps I need to take to get there, but I don't need to see the entire map. I think we do get a little bit tied up in, I need to see the entire map, and oh my God, it's enormous. And there were so many different directions I could go in, and so many different things I could do to get there. We're about taking it in and making it a bit quieter, like putting on a deep focus playlist effectively for your business.
Yeah. It's I think it's really helpful. And then it's hard to actually build on those next stages and other foundations if you don't have that in place, because that's kind of like your anchor, really, isn't it? That everything else kind of tethers from that. As we say, it kind of keeps you stable to build from. So obviously next stage would be the soulmate clients. Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to attract? Who all
Who do
these
you not want to work with? Who are those absolute
devils
devils that you're like, I cannot work with those people because they would suck the joy out of me? That's part of the other side of the coin as well. It's when we have this stuff nailed, we are gently and kindly repelling those people that we don't want to work with. So we don't have to say no quite so often, but when we do, it feels good.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's just as important. And all the elements that come after that, the visuals, branding, messaging, they all need to be supporting that goal of attracting or repelling the soulmate client. It's it's about you and your business, but it needs to bring in the right type of person. And that's not necessarily, it's a feminine brand to attract more women, or whatever, you work solely with women. It's also about going even deeper than that in terms of where are they at in their journey. Are they action takers? Are they at that stage? Or is there forward momentum that you want to come through in your branding? Is it bold? Is it quiet? Is it soft? Are people more at kind of contemplative? You know what I mean, state of their journey. All those things really matter. It's not a case of like, well, these are the colors I like and off we go. There's a lot more to it than that. If that obviously brings in a lot more strategy, which is what we work on and what we help you with. But at the end of the day, your business needs to be commercial, and so having that clarity and having those foundations and values and everything in place from which you can grow, it's just going to be much easier in the long run.
Absolutely. We know that with aligned visuals, branding, and messaging, you'll finally be able to show up line and in the real world in a way that makes people fall head over heels with your business, and you fall back in love with your business during the process. I mean, yes, it's itchy at times, and we're asking big questions and looking at stuff that a lot of people, business owners, have never looked at before. But when you're then presented with this brand that you have co-created, you've contributed to the process. We might have actually
Yeah.
done the pulling stuff together bit, but it's your story. It's something else, really, isn't it? It's kind of like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm going.
Yeah, and you can't really put a price on that kind of confidence. It just changes how you put yourself out into the world. It changes how you communicate with people, how you interact with people. And just knowing you've got that kind of solid basis behind you to support you. Not to say it's all plain sailing from that point. Obviously, business is a roller coaster journey. But again, if you've got that anchor to be tied to, you can get thrown around in the waves a bit, but it just kind of keeps you steady. That you've done the work, you've put the thought in, that it's going to resonate with the right people. There's nothing to hold you back then.
Absolutely. We want to see you guys move forward and step into the limelight that you deserve, really.
Yeah. And I think, we both are very passionate about the kind of human side of business, and I think in the world, the way it's going, I think those human stories are going to be, they've always been important, but they're going to be even more important. Like, I think when you get to a stage where we're going to crave those human connections and those human stories, and relating to people, I think it's just as important now, if not more than ever, to actually make sure you're crafting something that is true to you and not what a computer's telling you to do. Scanning everybody else and merging it all into one. This is something that's unique to you, because that's what's going to connect with people. That's what sets you apart from others. That's why someone is going to choose to work with you and not somebody else. It's your uniqueness, and that's what this process does. It brings that out, and the magic of that, which leads through into creating that branding, that's inspiring as you are as a business owner, and really letting that shine. It's about creating a website that works hard for you to make, your life easier. It's about putting your business, on that digital map, and like putting your flag in the sand and saying, here I am, and I'm proud about it. And that kind of final step, really, that we tie all that in together, is with the search engine optimization, because we could craft something as beautiful and as wonderful as possible. But you've got to let people know that it's there, and people need to be able to find you. So that's the kind of final foundational piece to really bring it all in together.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking through all of those foundations in more depth during this series. Don't worry if you're thinking, right, tell me more about them now. That's way too much for us to cover in one episode.
Where do I start? That's all.
Yeah. So we're dedicated to showing you this season how getting those foundations in place is going to help you to breathe life into and show people the beating heart at the core of your business. We'd love you to stick around, as the season is going to be absolutely filled with gold dust to help you recapture that spark in your business. And we've got some special guests lined up already, haven't we, Sammy?
We have, yeah. We've obviously been getting in the recording session, so we've already had a few lovely guests lined up. So we've got Kieran Armstrong, coming in to chat to us about that values piece, and bringing sustainability through, if that's something that's interested you, how you can do it, how you can look at aligning your business with those values and why that's, you know, important. We are talking to Nicole Louise Weiner. That one's kind of around the kind of money mindset, isn't it? We thought money was going to be, although that's not kind of covered in the brand foundations as such, massive piece of, you know, when you've got everything together, actually, okay, how does that translate, you know, into a profitable business? Laura Jolin from Laura Letters Life is going to be chatting to us about getting in flow with your business, and we highlight some work that I did with Laura with the SEO piece, and again just kind of highlighting how that can really help, you know, bring more people in to you and find you and your lovely services. So and also you've got some others coming along as well for the ride. So yeah, lots of kindred conversations coming your way.
It's exciting. We're glad to be back, and we're glad to be sharing these conversations with you. Again, do send us a voice note or a comment or a message and let us know what you've been creating, what your takeaway was from this episode, what else you'd like to hear us talk about, what foundation in particular you're especially interested in.
Yeah, I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
We can address some of those, you know, like we could do a little Q&A at the end of the season maybe. So anything that's coming up for you that you're like, I just can't get my head around or I'm struggling, let us know. We're happy to kind of answer those questions and any struggles best we can.
Absolutely. So in the meantime, stay tuned for more episodes.